Singer Carnie Wilson, beloved for her soaring vocals as part of the iconic pop trio Wilson Phillips, recently opened up about a frightening health scare that landed her in the hospital. The 57-year-old musician, who has been candid for decades about her health journey, shared with her fans that she faced a serious complication after having her lap band surgically removed earlier this month. The news came straight from Carnie herself, in a heartfelt video posted to Instagram on Thursday, where she looked directly into the camera and told her followers what happened, sounding both relieved and grateful to be able to talk about it. According to Carnie, she underwent the lap band removal procedure on September 15th, in an effort to address long-standing health issues that had been affecting her quality of life. The lap band, a type of adjustable gastric banding device used to aid in weight loss, was something she had turned to years earlier after struggling to maintain her weight following her first major weight loss surgery. But this time, what was supposed to be a relatively straightforward surgery turned into something far more serious. Carnie revealed that doctors discovered a troubling ulcer during the procedure, and things quickly became more complicated. It was very scary, Carnie admitted, her voice tinged with the kind of vulnerability that only comes from staring down a health crisis. She described how her blood pressure spiked dramatically, her legs became swollen, and she knew immediately that something wasn't right. For someone who has spent so much of her adult life focused on health, often publicly, this was a moment that forced her to pause and face the fragility of her body all over again. Doctors acted quickly, telling her that the ulcer could not be ignored. It needed treatment as soon as possible, and fortunately, Carnie's medical team was able to stabilize her and guide her through the immediate danger. Still, she didn't minimize the seriousness of the situation. "It was intense," she said in her video. "There was an ulcer in there. It doesn't surprise me with all the stress I've had this year. That stress, of course, has been monumental." Carnie lost her father, Brian Wilson, the legendary co-founder of the Beach Boys, earlier this summer. His passing on June 11th was a blow not just to the music world, but to Carnie personally, as she had a deep, complicated, and loving connection with him. Losing a parent is never easy, but losing one who was such a cultural icon adds a strange kind of pressure, as if your grief is being shared and analyzed by the world. For Carnie, this year has been one of emotional upheaval, grief, and constant reminders of the delicate balance between mental health, physical health, and the relentless pace of life. In the video, Carnie expressed immense gratitude to her doctors and nurses who worked tirelessly to make sure she was safe, as well as to the fans who sent her prayers and well wishes as word of her hospitalization spread. "I am just so lucky to have gotten through this," she said with tears brimming in her eyes. "It really put a new perspective on some health things for me. I'm on the mend!" This isn't the first time Carnie has had to take her health seriously and make major life changes. Her struggles with weight have been a part of her public narrative since the early days of Wilson Phillips, a group she formed with her sister Wendy Wilson and their childhood friend Chinna Phillips back in 1989. Wilson Phillips shot to fame almost overnight, thanks to their soulful harmonies and massive hits like "Hold On," "Release Me," and "You're in Love." The group became a pop culture staple of the early 90s, with their debut album selling over 10 million copies worldwide. But fame brought with it scrutiny, and Carnie's weight was often the subject of cruel tabloid headlines and public discussion. She has never shied away from speaking about the emotional toll that took on her, admitting that it contributed to cycles of emotional eating and periods of self-doubt. By the late 1990s, her weight had climbed to over 300 pounds, and she decided to undergo gastric bypass surgery in 1999. That surgery was life-changing for Carnie. She lost approximately 150 pounds and began to rebuild not just her health, but also her confidence and sense of self-worth. However, anyone who has struggled with weight loss knows that it is rarely a one-time fix. Over the years, Carnie saw her weight fluctuate again, and in 2012, she turned to another surgical option, lap band surgery, in an attempt to regain control. For a while, it worked, but eventually she encountered complications and side effects that made living with the device increasingly difficult. The decision to have it removed this September was, in her words, a necessary one for her long-term health. The hospitalization, however, forced Carnie to confront more than just the physical side of her health. She reflected in her video about how this scare has made her reconsider her approach to self-care and how easily health issues can spiral if not addressed early. "It's been a wake-up call," she admitted. "I've got to stay on top of this." Carnie has long been open about her other health challenges as well, including ulcerative colitis, a chronic inflammatory bowel disease that affects the colon. UC can cause painful flare-ups, fatigue, and other complications. While it's not clear whether her recent ulcer was directly related to her UC, Carnie has often spoken about how stress worsens her symptoms, something she once again mentioned when recounting this ordeal. Despite all of these setbacks, Carnie is emerging from this experience with a renewed sense of determination. She told fans that she has been prescribed new medications that seem to be helping her stabilize and finally get past what she called this hump. She also shared that she has been home from the hospital for a little while now and is focused on recovery, eating well, and taking things slow. This isn't the first time Carnie has turned a health challenge into an opportunity to inspire others. Back in April 2024, she posted proudly on Instagram about losing 40 pounds by completely changing her eating habits. She shared that she had cut out gluten, sugar, and butter, as well as limited fats. "This is 40 helps down. I feel really different," she said at the time. "I need to start exercising more to make the scale start to move again, but I'm so proud and pumped." Her journey was about more than numbers on a scale. It was about reclaiming control over her life. Carnie explained that she had found a way to satisfy cravings realistically, allowing herself indulgences like cheese and nuts in moderation, but staying committed to a healthier overall diet. "It's a miracle," she said, reflecting on how far she had come. Carnie's fans have followed her through decades of ups and downs, from music stardom to talk show hosting, from motherhood to multiple surgeries, and her openness about her struggles has made her deeply relatable. Her story is one of resilience, persistence, and a refusal to give up even when things seem impossibly hard. Now, as she continues to heal from this latest health scare, Carnie seems more determined than ever to embrace life, focus on her well-being, and keep sharing her story with the world. Her message to her fans was clear. Don't take your health for granted, listen to your body, and never ignore signs that something might be wrong. For someone who has been through so many transformations, physically, emotionally, and spiritually, this feels like another chapter in a life that has been defined not just by challenges, but by the courage to face them head-on. For Carnie Wilson, every health scare seems to carry with it a kind of spiritual lesson, a reminder to slow down, reassess priorities, and honor the body that has carried her through decades of hard work, fame, motherhood, and heartbreak. In the days following her hospital stay, she reflected not just on the physical pain and fear, but also on the mental and emotional toll it had taken. For someone like Carnie, who has built a career on authenticity and emotional vulnerability, being able to share her truth with fans is a way of processing what she has endured. It turns her pain into something meaningful, something that might help others who are silently struggling. When she appeared on camera in her Instagram video, there was no heavy makeup, no glamorous lighting, just Carnie in her rawest form, speaking directly to the people who have supported her for decades. That is something she has always done so well. She lets her fans see the human being behind the celebrity facade. In an age when social media is often filled with filters and carefully curated moments, Carnie continues to present herself with a rare honesty,